Well, I guess they're not ready for us. There we go. Yes, sir. Leading off playing third base, Chris Sabo. The left fielder tonight will be Herm Ringham. He'll second. The first baseman, Hal Morris, will hit third. The cleanup batter for the Reds tonight is center fielder Eric Davis. Hitting fifth in right field, Paul O'Neill. Hitting sixth at second base tonight, Luis Quinones. The shortstop, Mariano Duggan. The eighth hitter will be Jeffrey, the catcher. And on the mound and pitching for the Reds tonight, left-hander Chris Hammond.
And, of course, on the mound for the Cardinals, that young man, it's the second time, Gordy, this season that Ken Hill has faced the Reds.
Yes, he's a very impressive young man as far as arm strength is concerned, Marty. He can really throw a baseball. There's no problem with that, but he found out, as most young pitchers do, if you don't throw strikes, you have problems, and that's his problem. 1989, the Cardinals gave him a chance to pitch in the big leagues. He led the league with 99 bases on balls, and they don't appreciate that too much.
Well, he really pitched well against the Reds at Riverfront Stadium. And as much of a problem as control has been for this native of Lynn, Massachusetts, it wasn't in that game. It was a no-decision start some 10 days ago. He worked 6 innings, giving up 4 hits and 2 runs, did not walk a batter, and struck out 3 in the only game the Cardinals won in that series, 4-2 the final. The last time out was an entirely different story. Here's Chris Sabo, and here's Ken Hill. It's a call strike, and this game is underway. He went 3 1/3 5 days ago against Atlanta, giving up 5 hits and 5 runs earned. Braves winning that game 17-1. 1 ball and 1 strike on Sabo, who showed signs of maybe coming out of a fairly serious slump yesterday, collecting a couple of hits his last 2 times up at Wrigley Field. Count holding at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And that's one of the ways I think that Chris Sabo is going to find it. He's going to come out of the slump. If that ball's away from him, he's going to have to take a few shots to right field. When you try to pull everything, unfortunately, that's not going to work for you.
Well, you know, he hit that home run earlier in the year, and I'm sure you remember it in San Diego when he went the other way or against the Padres, and had never done that in his life. He hit an opposite field home run, and you'd have thought maybe that would have been the thing that really would have turned the light on upstairs. But he has really been pulling off the ball of late, trying to just jack everything to left field, and it simply has not worked. 2-2 the count. Hit hard, but at Ozzie. And that is problems anytime. 1 out. Take a look at the Cardinal defense.
In the outfield, left field, Rex Hunter. Center fielder, Ray Lang. For the right fielder tonight is Jose Felix. The catcher, Pagnazzi. The pitcher on the mound is Ken Hill. The third baseman, Todd Zeal. At shortstop, Ozzie the Wizard Smith. At shortstop, Jose Akendo. And at first base, Pedro Guerrero.
And with 1 down, here's Herm Winningham. He is in the lineup tonight simply because this ballpark has been awfully good for Herm Winningham. He's had 2 4-hit games here, and I'm sure you remember one of them last year when he had 3 triples in 1 game in an afternoon encounter here. Batting 194. And a ball, a strike. The Reds, with the 2 straight victories, are once again over 500. 15 wins and 14 defeats. They remain a game back in the Western Division. Atlanta sitting atop the West all by its lonesome. And leading early tonight in Chicago, 1-0. Well, the Cardinals have won 16 and lost 14. They're back home after winning last night down in Houston. 2 balls, 1 strike on Winningham with Hal Morris on deck. It is really warm and muggy. It's more like a June or July night in St. Louis. Strike 2 call. And the ever-present threat of thunder showers or storms, as the case normally is when you have this type of weather just about anywhere. Hopefully it'll come late and won't interfere with the play of this game at all. 2-2 and holding on Winningham.
One thing about Ken Hill, he's not going to try to trick you. He's going to throw everything hard. He does not have an off-speed pitch, and one of the reasons, again, Herb is in the lineup. Herb's a good fastball hitter, and this guy is going to come at you all the time.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. We're just underway here in St. Louis. Strike 3 call. Took a little something off that pitch. And Winningham caught looking as Hill rings up his first punch out.
We take another look at it. Look at the location of this pitch. Tough pitch to him.
That's the type of thing that really puts a smile on the face of people like Joe Torre and his pitching coach Joe Coleman and general manager Dal Maxville. This kid's got such a good arm. If he can just conquer that control problem, he can be a big winner in this league, especially pitching in this ballpark.
Speaking of things that are good, look at the good numbers this young man has. It's at the plate right now.
Real serious. 402 batting average is the best in the major leagues at the moment. He's in a hole, 2 strikes, and Hal, of course, just blistered Cardinal pitching, and for his efforts, he was named today the National League Player of the Week. After batting .533, he went 8 for 15, and that's how the top 4 hitters in this circuit look. Morris, McGriff, Biggio, and McGee. Former Cardinal. 2 down, nobody on. First inning. High for a ball.
Marty, and I think Morris is a perfect example of what you mentioned a while ago about using every inch of the turf that's in play to hit the baseball. This young man really does
Well, it certainly takes some measure of discipline to do that. And for a young hitter, he's got an awful lot of it. He's not looking to pull everything and try and hit impressive totals as far as home runs are concerned. He's going to get his share of home runs. Heck, he's already hit 3 of them. He's out on strikes, and an impressive beginning for Ken Hill. 3 out, 3 down. After a half at Busch Stadium, Reds nothing. Cardinals coming to bat.
Okay, the Cardinals to come to hit in this order. Their left fielder will lead off. That's Rex Hudler. The second hitter will be shortstop Ozzie Smith. The third hitter will be Felix Jose. Hitting the cleanup spot, former Dodger Pedro Guerrero. The fifth hitter, third baseman Todd Zeile. The center fielder, Ray Langford, will hit 6. The 7th hitter will be Tom Pagnozzi, the catcher. Second baseman Jose Oquendo will hit 8, and the pitcher Ken Hill will hit 9.
Chris Hammond, we talked in the open about the struggle for this native Alabaman in Pittsburgh last week. And certainly pitching in the kind of ballpark that any pitcher would welcome pitching in, coming off of a bad outing and hoping to come back. He works to Hudler. A strike is called. This, in case you're interested, is the first ever career appearance for Chris Hammond against the Cardinals.
We will see a complete contrast of pitching styles between Chris Hammond and Ken Hill.
Good change.
Perfect example right there.
Excellent change-up, and Hudler was way out in front. Well, we talked so much about that change-up. It's considered to be the best by a Reds pitcher in this organization since Mario Soto's, and I don't know that you can get have a better change-up than Soto had, and how good that pitch was to him for a lot of years with some frankly bad ball clubs in the early 80s in Cincinnati. Hudler can run. Sabo has to get rid of it in a hurry, and he does. That'll bring up Ozzie Smith with 1 out.
You know, when you look at the Cardinal lineup, Marty, you think of all the number of bodies they had to replace this winter. They lost a lot of players during the course of the winter.
I'm telling you, if you go back to, of course, Willie McGee last year, you can count McGee and you can count Coleman and Terry Pendleton. This should be easily handled by Hammond, and it is. Smith is gone for the 2nd out. So they lost a lot of experience, and along with that experience, a lot of age. And in return, they've got a very youthful ball club that has been the surprise of the National League, quite frankly.
You figure John Tudor retired. Joe McGrain, one of their leading pitchers, is out basically for the entire summer. They lost Ken Daly. They lost a lot of folks.
They certainly did. Those guys are, for the most part, scattered hither and yon around the major leagues. They predict big things for this kid, the ex-Oakland Athletic Felix Jose. He also has been named a National League Player of the Week, April 22 through 28. Hammond behind to him 2-0. A couple of home runs, tied for the club lead in runs batted in with a man on deck, Pete Guerrero, with 18. So Hammond going for the 1-2-3 first to equal what Ken Hill did before him. Speaking of pitchers, happy number 26 today to Jose Rijo.
26 years old.
26th birthday today for Jose. Change up. Well, you and Jose in big demand around this yard tonight. Both of you a part of a pregame show with Cardinal broadcaster Jack Buck.
Jack's probably one of the few remaining people who remember when I played.
That takes care of Jose, and that takes care of the Cardinals. A quick first inning in St. Louis.
Cincinnati baseball player cards and specially marked Pepsi multi-packs.
Hey, kid, maybe next year.
What a rookie.
A good beginning for both starting pitchers. Ken Hill and Chris Hammond each retired the respective sides in order. And after a scoreless inning, it'll be Eric Davis for openers here in the top of the second for Cincinnati. Swinging a pretty potent bat of late. Although it took, we hope, a brief respite and a vacation yesterday. Davis checked in Chicago 0 for 4, and he struck out 3 times. 277 batter. Hill behind 2-0.
He put on a pretty good show Saturday, though.
He and Paul O'Neill.
Ooh, Friday, Saturday.
12-2 final score, and well, we've seen 2 decent offensive games back-to-back, which has certainly been something of a rarity this season for this club. Here's Paul O'Neill. Plate umpire tonight is Mark Hirschbeck. At first base, Bruce Spanky Fremming. Greg Bonet at second and Ed Montague at third. Hill bringing it. And that should be an easy ball for Pete Guerrero to handle in foul territory. 1 out. This copyrighted telecast is presented courtesy of Multimedia Entertainment Incorporated by the authority of the Cincinnati Reds and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, transmission, and/or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. O'Neill, 6 home runs. The 1-out hitter. He hits that ball hard, but of course it's no man's land out there in left center field, right center in this ballpark. Taken care of by Ray Lankford.
Marty, the Reds did something in this park last year that they hadn't done since the Cardinals moved in here. They won every ball game in this town.
They sure did. This was a season series last year that the Reds just flat out dominated, beating the Cardinals 6 times in a row en route to a 9-3 season series edge. This ballpark opened back in 1966, and as Gordy mentioned, they'd never done that, a clean sweep in this ballpark. You're going to be seeing a lot of Quiñones this week. What with Larkin down and Duncan moving over to shortstop and Doran on the disabled list. And they'd really like to see Louis start to swing the bat because he has been rather inept. Batting average of 161, and boy, you talk about a guy pulling off the ball. He's had some problems in that area in the last few days. Down a quick 2-strike count to Hill.
Well, the loss of Doran, they're really going to count on Louis because the young man that they brought up today doesn't have 1 at-bat in the big leagues. He doesn't have any experience whatsoever.
And has never been noted as a good hitter in his progress through the Reds farm system. Hill takes care of the ground ball, and the Reds go down in order for the 2nd straight time. At the end of 1.5 innings of baseball, Cincinnati nothing and St. Louis likewise. Looking for 1 hit that would put his total for his career at 1,500. Hitting 259 at the moment. Hammond got the top third out with relative ease in the first. Hudler, Smith, Jose all grounding out.
There's no question Chris Hammond can win in the big leagues, Marty, if he stays ahead of the hitter.
Up the middle, Hammond couldn't get to it. They set. So 1,500 of them in Pedro Guerrero's major league career. They call for the baseball as we look at it one more time, and that will be a memento of a rather productive major league career for this guy whose career began in the Cleveland Indians organization, went to the Dodgers, had some big years with that team, and of course now with the Cardinals. So he opens up the inning with a base hit, and it brings up Todd Zeile. This guy's development as a third baseman has far exceeded all expectations. I don't mean to say that the people felt like this guy was going to be just an average third baseman. I think everybody felt that once he became acclimated to the position, he would ultimately become a good one. he has become rather proficient very, very quick. They'll have to hurry. And didn't turn it. They got the force play, but not the double play.
Here's the pivot. Louis gets rid of the ball real good, but unfortunately, the throw's not there in time.
Well, the ball was not hit all that sharply to begin with, and Duncan had to lay back on it. So they get the lead man, and now it'll bring to the plate the center fielder, Ray Langford, one of the youngsters on this club we were talking about. Another one who normally gets that start out in left field, but deferring to Rex Hudler tonight, Bernard Gilkey. Breaking ball missing.
Of course, this Cardinal ball club is designed for this ballpark. It's a big ballpark, and they really rely on a whole lot of speed.
Well, if any general manager on this club went out and tried to stock this club with power hitters, would simply be making a mistake, and they know that. It's such a huge ballpark that balls that normally go out in other yards around the National League are just routine outs here. So with the AstroTurf and the big ballpark, they go for speed. All Cardinal ball clubs have been noted for that, or at least they have throughout basically the decade of the 80s and as we start this decade of the 90s. 2 balls, no strikes.
You know, speaking of those great Cardinal clubs in the 80s, Marty, you know, Ozzie Smith's the only player remaining from that group.
He really is. We talked about how many of them had gone elsewhere. And Tom Brunansky, we neglected to mention him. He's with the Boston Red Sox as his catcher, Tony Pena. So they really are a team in transition, but playing very well right now in transition. Davis going after it. And retracing his steps and in a hurry to get back to first is Todd Zeile. You know, nothing beats the excitement of Cincinnati Reds baseball, and when enjoying the game, nothing beats the king of beers. So clean, crisp, and cold, nothing beats a Bud.
It's interesting as the catcher comes to hit Tom Pagnozzi. When he signed as a third baseman. He is now catching, and Zeile signed as a catcher. He's now playing third.
And both have made the transitions very well. It's simply a matter of commitment. In fact, that's what Todd Zeile credits his quick development as a third baseman to, the fact that he made the commitment very quickly rather than sulk and bemoan the fact that he was not going to be able to play the position that he had been trained to play. He said, I'm going to become a good third baseman. This is where my future is. And he had very few down days, so Joe Torre says. He always maintained an upbeat outlook on making the change, and it's really paid off for him. Pagnozzi, of course, the same. That's the reason they made Zeile a third baseman, to get this guy in the lineup. All of a sudden now, Hammond's starting to pitch from behind. 2-0 the count on Pagnozzi with 2 outs. No score. We're in the second. Tom coming off a pretty good outing against Houston last night, equaling a career high with 3 hits.
Well, in watching Cardinal baseball, they sure like to keep people moving, and there's an ideal situation here with the 2 outs and two balls. You can really send somebody here.
Well, they had Zeile running when Langford flied to Davis. There's ball 3. It is really imperative that Chris Hammond, and he's gotten off to a good start. I mean, 3 wins and a loss with a .312 earned run average. Won his first 3 before losing in Pittsburgh. But you want no worse than being basically a .500 pitcher out of your 5th starter. And he has got to give him that in order for this rotation from top to bottom to be effective. Anything you get above that is nothing but gravy. Pagnozzi looking down to his third base coach, Bucky Dent. Let's see if Zeile takes off on this pitch. Well, he was getting ready to go and had to make a quick left turn back to the bag. Well, the word has certainly gone out around the league. 12 times now, Reds pitchers have either picked off a runner at first or trapped him off the bag and got him stealing. And there he goes. And ball 4. The Cardinals have a 2-out threat going. Or is it? Nope, he called that a strike. So credit Zeal with an uncontested stolen base, his third of the year, and a 3-ball, 2-strike counter. They call a balk. I don't know.
Reed didn't attempt to throw the ball. He must have thought it was a...
No, they called a balk. That's, well, now the runner's going down. That'll be ball 4. He's going down to first base. They had everybody confused. Wait a minute now. If it was a balk, the pitch wouldn't count.
It must have been ball 4.
Had to be ball 4. Couldn't have been a balk if they're going to let Pagnazzi go on down to first. So 2 men on, 2 men out, and here's Jose Oquendo. His only home run this season came against the Reds at Riverfront Stadium. Way high and outside, ball 1. Inning started with Guerrero getting a base hit. Zeal forced him with a ground ball to short. Langford flies to center, and Pagnazzi gets a base on balls. And Hammond all of a sudden simply cannot throw a strike. He's behind 2-0. We pause 5 seconds for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds television network.
Your #1 sports station in Cincinnati, WLWT.
With Gordy Coleman, Marty Brenneman back at Busch Stadium. 0-0 in the second. And the 2-0 pitch on the way. A big bouncing ball hit to short. Duncan's throw to first. 3 RBIs, including that 8th inning 2-out, 2-run triple that broke the 3-3 tie and sent the Reds on to the win. Duncan, a .215 batter.
Well, they were wondering early in the season what they were going to do with 2 second basemen. Now they found out, haven't they?
It's no longer a problem. Billy Doran down, and boy, we certainly hope that his rehab will be brief and he'll be back on the roster. Nobody wants to play and contribute to this team more than Billy Doran does, and yesterday was a very down day for Bill when he simply could not go any longer and had to be taken out of the game, and of course ultimately on the disabled list. 1 ball, 2 strikes. You know, I know you have a lot of memories of one particular Cardinal pitcher, most of them not real good memories. A fellow by the name of Bob Gibson. You told an interesting and a very humorous story before we went on the air tonight about Gibson and Tim McCarver.
Supposedly a true one, Marty, because when Bob Gibson was pitching, he was in complete command. He didn't want anybody to bother him. Just give me the ball, I'll take care of the rest. That's just the way it was. Rookie year, Tim McCarver went out to the mound to slow him down a little bit. About 3/4 of the way out, Mr. Gibson told him, son, said, I don't know why you're out here, because the only thing you know about pitching is you can't hit it, so get back.
Here's a 1-2 pitch, and that's the 3rd strikeout for Ken Hill. Of course, we see Bob a lot around the ballpark when we come to St. Louis, and every bit the gentleman, which really belies the approach that he took to the game of pitching when he was an active player with this ball club.
He was very serious.
Jeff Reed also had a good day yesterday at Wrigley Field. His first home run of the year, 1 of 2 hits. The Reds now with, in effect, 3 catchers. They've got Reed, they've got Joe Oliver, they've got the youngster Glenn Sutko, who joined the team yesterday from Chattanooga. Oliver, they found a hairline fracture in the middle finger on his throwing hand. The injury that he suffered last Wednesday night in Pittsburgh in that home plate collision on Jay Bell's inside the park home run.
Joe is available to hit, though, right?
Yes, he's not completely down, and they did not see the need to put him on the disabled list. Hudler will have to hold up, and that ball dropped for a hit. So Reed swinging a pretty good bat right now. Opposite field single, the first knock of the game for the Reds. It'll bring up pitcher Chris Hammond.
Boy, the ball that Jeff hit for the home run yesterday, he really crushed that ball. It was against the flag. Boy, the flag was straight in. He turned the wind right around.
Hammond has been up 9 times, and he's shown he can swing the bat. Although the Cardinal defense right now looking for the bunt that would get Reed to second. Of course, Reed doesn't run all that well, so that makes the necessity for a good bunt all that more impressive. And this is what I'm talking about. Not all that good. Reed doesn't run that well, and you're really taking a chance in a situation like that. And Hammond did not put the good bunt down. They easily got the force out at second.
It was a one hop right back to the pitcher. All he had to do was turn and throw. Here it is. He didn't get the batter in front of the plate. When the word sacrifice comes up, that's what they mean. Sacrifice your turn at the plate to advance your runner. You have to get the bat out in front of the plate, square around, and get the bat on the ball.
Reds normally get that job done, but not this time. And so here's Sabo back for the second time. He grounded to short to begin the game. Reds nothing, Cardinals nothing in the third. Chris had 2 home runs off Cardinal pitching in that game at Riverfront. And that's 3-game series, I should say. Not a good throw by Todd Zeile, and Oquendo tried to play the first baseman's role, and that big stretch and reaching up, and he grabbed the throw, but in doing so he had to come off the bag, and that's a throwing error.
Here's another look at it. Ball's high, pulls him off the bag.
Oh, while the Cardinals posed a 2-out threat in the second, the Reds are doing that right now here in the third. Bringing to the plate Herm Winningham, who in the first inning looked at strike 3 call.
Boy, they really play Herm around in left field. Look at the gap in left center. Boy, when you hit a ball up the alley here, you run for days, can't you?
A long time. And he certainly made the most of the cavernous gaps in this ballpark last year with that rare 3 triple ball game. You're not going to very often see that happen, season in, season out. He stings one into left center field, and that ball is going to be caught. What a play by Rex Hudler.
What a play.
He just took away 2 runs, took extra bases away from Winningham, and the inning is over. And
that ball had base hit written all over. Look at that, completely off the ground.
Winningham, I'm sure, had that chalked up, and it meant 2 runs because they would have scored twice easily. Here's another look at it from another angle. Such a valuable property, this young man, because he can play all over the place. Hurricane clean, Rex Hudler. He'll give you everything he's got. A former Yankee product, Montreal, now the Cardinals, and can play all over the place. He's due to bat second here in the inning.
He was the only player in the majors last year that started at 6 different positions. In 4 days in a row, he started 4 different positions, so he's very versatile.
Only other National League game in progress is through 4 in Chicago. Braves 2, Cubs nothing. The other 3 games will be played on the West Coast. Here's a pitcher, Ken Hill.
Must be able to swing the bat. Chris Hammond started him over the breaking ball.
Well, he's looking for his first hit. He's 0 for the season, 11 times up. 2 balls and no strikes. I mean, this gets a little bit alarming now because the repetition factor, and Gordy made the comment, and accurately so, the way Chris pitched in Pittsburgh last week was reminiscent of the way he threw the ball when he came up with the club last year, and also the way he pitched in spring training. I mean, you can get people out only so long, as we saw last week in that start against the Bucks at 3 Rivers. He rolled along for 3 innings, pitching from behind, and all of a sudden they lowered the boom on him. But the most disturbing thing about that is the fact that they scored 5 times after 2 were out. Lou Piniella was not a bit happy about that. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He would be more unhappy if he pitched again on to lead off this inning.
Thank you. Ball 3. In the American League in the 6th, Yankees 4-1 over Oakland. In the 4th inning, it's California leading Cleveland 5-4. In the 2nd, Tigers nothing, Texas nothing, and a delay in Boston early with the White Sox leading 2-0 in rain. Duncan, pretty good play.
Beautiful play. Full motion, throwing off balance to a perfect strike. That was a very nice play. Watch this again. Here's another look at it. Full extension. Throws off balance.
Well, here comes Hudler, and they show the play he made on Winningham on the giant TV screen here one more time. Right now, he's a new secret weapon without any question.
This young man really plays the game hard, Marty. He's a throwback to the old days. He really loves to play the game, and he goes all out all the time.
Well, it's refreshing to see a kid like him who maybe doesn't have the ability that so many other players do, and works to make up for that deficiency in some areas in comparison with others by playing as hard as he does. Taco Bell now with 3 great menus for just $59, $79, or 99 cents. Run for the border. Change up.
You know, you mentioned, Marty, he's a former Yankee project. He was their #1 draft choice in 1978. In fact, he was the number 18th youngster in the country drafted that year.
No balls, 2 strikes. 1 out deep into the home third. No score. Each team has had 1 hit.
3 changes. Wow.
That's called confidence.
Cool. 3 straight.
His first strikeout.
Watch this. Look, he has it on the front foot. Watch him jump out there. Everything's gone.
Well, you got a change up like that, you can embarrass a hitter.
And did.
And did. Ozzie tried to bunt his way onto the first, and Hammond threw him out. Talk continues about the possibility of him being traded off this ball club. He's made no bones about the fact that there's really only one club that he would like to go to, and that's the Dodgers. He drops it in front of Davis. Hit number 2 for the Cardinals.
Speaking of that, the Dodgers shortstop, I guess, was put on the disabled list yesterday, right?
Alfredo Griffin. Inning continues for Felix Jose. A ground out to third in the first inning.
Very strong young man. Last year when he played some for them in September, he hit one in the red seats, and boy, that's a long way.
Some pretty good hang time right there on that paper airplane. Excellent hang time. That bad boy came out of the upper deck. Could you make him that good? No, when
with
you
my
were a
hands,
kid.
are you kidding? Are you've heard about my hands?
Ozzie getting a challenging lead over at first base. Didn't go far enough, a ball.
The one thing you really have to be careful with that change, Marty, is if you don't fall in love with it, throw it too many times back to back.
Now Reed says timeout and gets it from Mark Hirschbeck. He's going to go out for a chat.
He's thrown it 4 out of 5 pitches, and sometimes that may be a little too much.
That might be exactly what Jeff Reed was imparting upon Chris Hammond, because it didn't take long. Ozzie with 1 foot in the dirt and 1 foot on the carpet. Anytime you see a runner get that kind of lead at first base, it's a good one. That's trouble. Base hit.
As soon as it hit Hammond's glove, it was trouble. There's another look at it.
I'll tell you, that was a very fieldable ball right there. I wonder how well Hammond feels his position. That ball was very fieldable. Was not really hit all that hard. And if he comes up with it, it's a routine out at first base. As it stands, it's an infield single. And for the second consecutive inning, you find himself in trouble again. Pete Guerrero had a base hit to open the second. Good location with that pitch, a strike.
The Cardinals have been very impressive in their early start. But the one thing they run very parallel with the Reds is the fact that in 3 runs or less ball games, they're 1-10. So they don't fare too well. They don't score some runs.
Broken bat shot off the fists, and the inning is over. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. Steve Lamar will be joining Gordy at the end of 3.
Well, as the Reds come to hit in their half the 4th inning, we have a scoreless tie. We'd like to welcome to the microphone Steve Lamar.
All right, Gordy, thank you. Ken Hill with the first delivery missing to Hal Morris. Hal, a strikeout victim his first time up. And that dropped his league-leading batting average to .398. Not a bad place to drop it to. He was at .402 to start the ball game, and he swings and drills one into the alley in left center. There's Hudler going back, and he gets there to make the catch. Nice running catch by Rex Hudler.
He said to be routine making that play, isn't he?
Boy, the last 2 batters have been robbed of extra base hits by Rex Hudler. That play he made on Winningham to end the 3rd inning was just brilliant.
Rex Hudler played second base yesterday for the Cardinals.
Well, he's a fellow who can move around. He was the only player in the major leagues to start at 6 different positions last year. 1 out in the 4th. Eric Davis the batter. One strike to him.
Eric wanted to make it 1-0 real quick, didn't he?
The weather forecast here is not good. They say rain is approaching. 81 degrees here to start the ball game. And a strike call to Davis. Now Hill in front of him 0-2. The Reds 2-4 on the road trip, which winds up here in St. Louis Wednesday afternoon. Then it's home to begin a long homestand. Ball 1-2. The California teams are coming in beginning Friday night with the Padres at Riverfront. Davis fouls one away into the upper deck.
Speaking of West Coast teams, did you see in the paper yesterday in the Baltimore-Seattle game? It was the largest pitching matchup in history. 6'10" Randy Johnson and 6'7" Ben McDonald for the Orioles.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. Swing and a foul back as we look at the JTM National League scoreboard. And we'll check the American League in the bottom half of the inning. Fourth inning in St. Louis, no score. Nobody on and 1 out. That's in the dirt. It's 2-2 to Eric. Left-handers tomorrow night, Norm Charlton and Jamie Moyer. Two-two pitch. Got him swinging. Just got a piece of it, and the catcher Pagnazzi held on for the 4th strikeout for Ken Hill.
Here, we'll take another look. He just throws the ball right by.
Now the right-hander Hill will pitch to Paul O'Neill, who flied to center back in the 2nd inning. Reds have had only 1 hit tonight. That was that opposite field single by Jeff Reed in the 3rd. Cardinals have 3 base hits. Down low to O'Neill, ball 1. Reds 2-4 on the road trip. As a team, they've hit only .208 on the trip, despite that outburst over the weekend in Chicago.
I see in the standings today that the Mets have bypassed and the Reds are now dead last at .227 as a team batting average.
Yeah, the Reds are dead last in the major leagues in hitting. Line shot down the right field line, but it's foul and out into the corner. So 2 balls and a strike to O'Neill. Paul's the home run leader on the ball club with 6 of them. The last 2, of course, coming on Saturday afternoon at Wrigley Field. O'Neill hit 2, Davis hit 2, Hatcher hit 1, and that 12-2 victory over the Cubs.
I'm sure the Cubs are glad to see Mr. O'Neill leave town.
Paul O'Neill, now with a count of 3-1, has 6 home runs this year. 5 of them have been against the Cubs, and 12 of his 13 RBIs have been against the Chicago ball club. 3-1 pitch by Hill, and he walked him. And the Reds have a base runner on Hill's first walk of the night. It comes with 2 men out in the 4th. Here's Quinones. Bounce back to the pitcher Hill in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. And batting at 156. Reds threatened in the third inning. They left 2 men on base. That's fouled away. And that catch, that sensational diving catch by Rex Hudler out in left field on a ball hit by Winningham to end that third inning, certainly saved 2 runs. We are scoreless in the fourth inning.
You won't see a better play than that the rest of this summer. That was just a truly outstanding play.
No, it doesn't get any better than that play Hudler made. O'Neill back standing up. That's down the right field line and foul out into the Cardinal bullpen.
Here's a look at Louis' last swing. Fastball down. Louis, he stayed with that one. You watch, his head stayed right in there. Chicago, for 3 days, he just pulled off of everything. They've been really, trying to get him to concentrate. Don't swing so hard. Stay with the ball.
Quinones, of course, in the lineup with Billy Doran going on the disabled list. And, of course, Barry Larkin being unavailable for anything but pinch hitting or pinch running duties.
And Billy was put on the 15 days, so Louis is going to be really counted on to have some playing time here in the next few days.
Youngster Freddie Benavides was brought up from the minor leagues to replace Doran on the roster. O'Neill goes on the 1-2 pitch. It's inside. The throw by Pagnazzi gets it.
Drugstores.
Todd Zeile, Ray Lankford, and Tom Pagnazzi for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the fourth inning. First pitch fouled off to the right by Zeile. This fella's done quite a good job for the Cardinals since moving over to third base. Surprisingly well. That error he made earlier in the ballgame, only his second of the year.
That series that they played in Cincinnati, he played as well as it can be played.
Yeah, he really made some fine plays for the Cardinals at third base at Riverfront. Ball and a strike now to Zeile.
And you figure last year, Steve, he hit 15 home runs for the Cardinals as a catcher, and that was the first time a Cardinal rookie had ever done that.
Popped up. Here comes Duncan, Morris, and Quinones. Everybody clears out except Mariano, who makes the catch, and there's 1 out in the bottom of the fourth inning.
That's very good, because up in Chicago there was a couple of confusing plays. Duncan just took charge.
And here's the JTM American League scoreboard. They have a power failure at Fenway Park tonight. That's why that game is delayed. Been a while when going in Cleveland tonight. Kansas City's won 3 in a row after losing 10 out of 11. Ray Lankford, the batter, flied out his first time up. No score, bottom of the fourth inning in St. Louis. Wide at first, there's Quinones to get it. Here's the throw to Hammond covering for the out.
Well, he got that in line too, didn't he? That was a close play.
Lankford can really move. Hammond did a good job. Got off that mound with a ground ball hit to the right side of the infield and got over to cover. That one goes 4-1.
Louis gave him a nice toss. The ball was up in the air, so he didn't have to look for the ball in the bag at the same time. It was a good play on both ends. Speaking of power failures in Boston, that's not the Red Sox bats that's got power failure. Not the way they're playing.
No, No, the Red Sox have won 10 of their last 13. And they certainly want to play that game. They have Roger Clemens scheduled to go in that one. He's 6-0. Pagnazzi doesn't get a changeup.
There's a killer change. Boy, that's a great one.
And here's a special Reds Network salute to nationwide insurance agent Dennis Vogel, winner of the 1990 President's Conference Award. For all your insurance needs in Ohio, call Dennis Vogel. Hammond studying that sign put down by Jeff Reed. 2 out, nobody on. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. And Pagnozzi laid off him. 2 balls, 1 strike. Reds had tremendous success here at Busch Stadium last year. They won all 6 games they played here. First time they'd swept a season series here at Busch since this ballpark was built back in 1966. Matter of fact, Busch Stadium opened 25 years ago yesterday. Prior to that, of course, the Cardinals played at venerable Sportsman's Park.
Beautiful old ball.
And now it's 3-2, a full count to Pagnozzi.
You know, when you look around the stands and see these great fans that, you know, they support the Cardinals with this, you know, year after year after year, and you look at those pennants that they've won and see them on top of the dugouts, this has been a very proud organization.
Center field. Eric Davis coming in to make a basket catch and retire the side. Hammond sets him down in order at the end of 4.
Claims more quickly and answer questions more completely instead of the claims department or the membership office.
Years the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series. As Gordy said, it's a very proud organization with a rich history, of course, like the Reds. The last World Championship coming in 1982 for St. Louis. There's a ground ball to first. Picked off by Guerrero. Luis Quinones is out. 1 gone in the 5th inning.
I guess that's one of the reasons it was so tough for the Cardinal fans to accept last year. You know, they finished last for the first time since Woodrow Wilson was president. So they've been a tradition of winning.
Cardinals finishing last year for the first time since 1918. That was the year after the legendary Miller Huggins left St. Louis to become the manager of the Murderers Row New York Yankees.
Boy, that was a moment in history.
Ken Hill delivers to Mariano Duncan, who takes a strike on a breaking ball. A fellow by the name of Jack Hendricks managed that 1918 Cardinal ball club. He had the misfortune of doing that. That's the only year he lasted.
Yeah, I would imagine that was probably short term.
When they finished last, and Branch Rickey replaced him as the manager. Out is Duncan. 2 men gone in the 5th inning. You saw those 9 pennants up on top of the dugout. 9 World Championship seasons for the Cardinals. That's the most of any National League ball club.
No wonder they're proud.
The Dodgers have won 6. The Reds and the Pirates and the Giants have won 5 world titles. Of course, the all-time leader, the Yankees, they won the World Series 22 times.
That's an unbelievable thing.
Jeff Reed owns the only Cincinnati base hit tonight. He singled to left off Ken Hill in the 3rd inning with 1 out. And he takes one up high.
Well, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast tonight, Steve, about the control problems that Mr. Ken Hill in the past has had. Boy, he's shown no signs of that tonight, has he?
Tonight he's walked only 1. That was Paul O'Neill in the 4th, and O'Neill then was caught stealing. Jose Oquendo at second base. Throws him out, and the inning is over. So Cardinals second baseman Jose Oquendo to lead it off. Then it will be the Cardinal pitcher Ken Hill and left fielder Rex Hudler. Sharp one hopper to Quinones, and he'll throw out Oquendo. Quickly 1 out. And now Chris Hammond has retired the last 5 batters, and only 1 of them has hit the ball out of the infield. Say, remember, Reds fans, Bank One Cincinnati, the bank that will do whatever it takes within reason.
One thing about it with this weather down here tonight, these pitchers shouldn't have any trouble staying loose because it's nice and warm.
It is warm and it is sticky. Second base again, and again Quinones makes the play. Hill is out. 2 pitches, 2 men out.
Well, see, there's an unfair thing for a pitcher to do right there. The first hitter hits the first pitch. The pitcher comes up and hits the first pitch. Now, the pitcher can get out of the inning with throwing 3 pitches, which shouldn't happen. The pitcher's got to take a strike. Now the hitter's got to come up and take a strike. Hudler can't hit the first pitch, or shouldn't.
Well, I wouldn't think he would, but you never know. Hudler has bounced out, struck out, and made 2 outstanding plays. One of them just a brilliant play to rob the Reds of 2 runs back in the 3rd inning. Made a diving catch in left center field and a Ball that was hit very hard by Herm Winningham. Made the catch going away.
Yeah, you can't let a pitcher get away with 3 straight pitches.
So Hudler does take that strike. Hudler, a very good bunter. Sabo is up a step in front of the bag. Change up, and Hudler doesn't find it. It's 0-2.
You figure the last time he faced Chris Hammond, he struck him out with 3 straight changes. Now there's a second strike for a change. Let's see if he comes back with the third one again if he's waiting for it.
Think along with the hitter and the pitcher. There's the bunt. It's bunted foul, and Hudler is out of there. That'll go down as a strikeout. He bunted foul with 2 strikes on it. Hammond's second strikeout, and at the end of 5, they're...
Well, as the Reds come to hit in our half of the 6th inning, we're in the same position we were when you left, Marty. It's still zip.
Well, it's a Cincinnati ball club, Gordy, where we've grown accustomed and grown to love this season. The way their offense has been going tonight, after 2 good outings back-to-back in Chicago, they have not done anything to speak of, only 1 hit. And that was a 3rd inning single by Jeff Reed, and Hammond leading it off. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd. Hill threw it away. That's a throwing error, as he had to throw over the runner, and he threw too much over the top of Chris Hammond.
Marty, he had plenty of time to throw that ball without doing what he did. Here's another look at it. Chris Hammond, the ball is right there. He's got plenty of time, and Chris Hammond's inside the baseline, but the umpire didn't call it. How about that?
How about that?
We'll take that, little Dolly.
Yes, indeed. I'm surprised Whitey.
Because we saw the same thing in Chicago.
The legacy, huh?
We saw that same thing in Chicago.
And it was called.
Yes, sir. Here he cannot run inside the line from where the blocks are all the way down. He cannot run inside there, and the umpire's right there, and he didn't call it. So it's a break.
That's amazing. So let's see if the Reds can take advantage of the miscue. The 2nd of the night by the Cardinals. First pitch inning. Plenty of time for Langford way up there, and Sabo's gone.
Well, do you think Mr. Winningham's going to test Rex Hudler again?
I'll tell you what, I got to wonder why they didn't have Sabo bunting up there.
Well,
maybe they feel that the same thing exists with the Hammond that existed with Reed when they tried to advance Jeff with a bunt, and they, of course,
didn't have success.
Got the out, rather. Yeah, that's right. It was Hammond bunting, and they bunted into a force out on Reed. Maybe that's the thinking as far as Hammond was concerned. Anyway, here's Winningham, and boy, was he ever more robbed in the 3rd. 0 for 2 tonight. And that's going to be routine, as opposed to the ball he hit in left center earlier.
We are really seeing some first ball swinging tonight, aren't we?
Now, he was off of the release after he refused to take Tom Bernansky's place in right field yesterday, with Boston trailing Texas 11-1. Marshall, who said he had a sore back, was called to a meeting with manager Joe Morgan, co-owner Haywood Sullivan, and general manager Lou Gorman. That should be 2. And it is. And Gorman said that Marshall was told to comply with the terms of his contract or face disciplinary action in the future.
Yeah, I saw some of the comments from some of his teammates today about not going in the outfield.
Jack Clark fired on him big time. But you can expect that Jack Clark will be front and center when it comes to opening up on somebody.
Marty, you mentioned in the inning before when the Reds were hitting about, or wondering why about not bunting. Basically the same question, I guess, could have risen, and there's your double play that could have taken place right there.
Although you're less likely to let Felix Jose bunt than you would Chris Sabo.
Good point.
Guerrero, a ball, no strikes.
I guess the only thing being with the success that Pedro Guerrero has had over the years, driving in runs in scoring position.
Yep. And that one is going to get off of Quinonez's glove, and Loy will run it down. So a hit for Guerrero.
I'm glad he didn't bunt, because that's a run right there.
Yep.
We'll take another look. Louis goes a long way, but he's no play. Even if he comes up with the ball, he can't do anything with it. He's just too far out, too off balance.
Inning continues for Todd Zeile as you look at Guerrero standing alongside Hal Morris at first base. Zeile is 0 for 2. Cardinals now have 4 hits. And Guerrero has collected 2 of them. Power, meanwhile, has ceased momentarily his deliberations in the Cincinnati bullpen. No excuse for that. Absolutely no excuse for Reed letting that ball get away unless he was crossed up, and it did not appear that he was.
That would be the thought. Let's take another look at it. The ball's right down the middle of the plate. It just hit up on the top of the glove.
So now Chris Hammond has to bow that back just a little bit more, what with Guerrero having moved up on the pass ball.
You might want to consider how you pitch here, because first base is open. The hitter is right-handed. The man in the on-deck circle is a left-handed hitter, so you might want to pick what you want to do here.
Ray Lankford due up next. Change up.
Good pitch.
Right. Well, he's had his way here with Zeal. No balls and 2 strikes, but boy, you don't want to make a major mistake right now.
One swing turns this whole thing around.
Guerrero, of course, does not run all that well. He's a runner out at second. Breaking ball missing.
I just wonder, Marty, Chris Hammond has not been, over 7 innings this year, or has he been 7? That maybe because of the extra heat tonight, maybe they think that's taking the inning out because he's going, into the bottom of the 6th with 2 out.
Yeah, he's been 7 twice against Houston and against Chicago, both victories.
Another good stop.
He's sure working out Jeff Reed. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
No, he didn't want to throw him a good pitch to hit, but you can't be bouncing him in the dirt and getting away either. It was a nice stop by Jeff Reed. The ball's down. Jeff gets right down there, keeps the ball right in front of him.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nothing in the bottom of the 6th inning.
There's a change again.
There's Power. Slowed down his work. We pause 5 seconds for station identification on the Cincinnati Reds television network.
Your #1 sports station in Cincinnati, WLWT.
2 down, runner at second here in the Cardinals' 6th inning, and a 2-2 count. Hammond with Zeal. And Todd continuing to hang in.
I would imagine with this humidity tonight, a pitcher in that bullpen is used to warming up quickly. Could probably be shaking hands and be ready in about 2 pitches.
If you can't get loose in weather like this, boy, you got a problem. And loose in a hurry. He certainly doesn't have any problem in that regard. The battle continues here with Guerrero at second. Duncan, he's given this club some quality play at shortstop. The inning is over, and through 6. That one's high enough to draw rain.
Don't mention that word tonight.
1 ball, 1 strike. Jeff Reed cooling off in the Reds dugout. We will see the newcomer behind the plate tomorrow night, Big Len Sutko. He'll be getting his first major league start behind that plate against the Cardinal left-hander Jamie Moyer.
I bet he's a tickler young man to have that news.
Yes, sir. Davis taking, that's high, ball 3, 3-1. There's Sutz. Down there in the bullpen holding court, Ted Power, Randall Kirk, Rob Dibble, all the boys.
Well, he shouldn't let the start tomorrow night frighten him. He's got a big league at bat, so
he's a big leaguer.
That's behind him.
Yes, sir. Davis leads it off with a walk, and that's the second given up tonight. Let's see if that'll create some stirring around in the Cardinal bullpen. So far, not yet. And now Paul O'Neill steps in. We can recollect back to Game 1 of the 1990 season in Houston. You might remember the night that Barry Larkin won that game in extra innings with a bases-loaded triple. And O'Neill in that game, the opening game of the year, put down his first and only sacrifice bunt in the major leagues.
I did not know that. Boy, that's...
Could they ask him to do it here? I doubt it.
No, I don't think so.
And he sends one back into deep center field. It's going to be caught by Langford.
And the reason I didn't think he was going to be bunting is the fact that the way Eric Davis can steal bases, his percentage being what they are as far as stolen bases, I think within the next 2 pitches he'll be on second.
Well, you got a guy behind that plate in Pagnozzi who's thrown out 40% of the people who have attempted to run on him this season. Davis, of course, 7 out of 7. And here's another left-handed batter in Luis Quinones. Louis has bounced to the mound and grounded out to Guerrero. And Hill, who will repeatedly throw over. He's really not had that much of an opportunity tonight. He had Reed on in the third with 1 out, no threat to steal. And he had O'Neill on with 2 outs in the 4th inning, and they ran him, and he was thrown out by Pagnozzi. They pitch out. Davis bluffed to go.
They were thinking just like I was.
No runs, 1 hit for Cincinnati. No runs, 4 hits, and 2 errors for the Cardinals. Top of the 7th inning. Davis. And don't think that Joe Torre won't pitch out again. Hudler. It'll bring on Mariano Duncan.
He was a hero yesterday.
I bring up the possibility of back-to-back pitch-outs because twice this season, Joe Torre has pitched out 3 straight times on 0-1 counts. 3 straight times. Twice he's done it this year.
That's a little daring.
And both times he's knocked the runner off attempting to steal.
You don't see that much in this game.
No. So Davis led off with a walk, but since that time, O'Neill has lined hard to deep center. There goes Davis. They pitch out. In there. 8 in a row for Eric.
Even with a pitch out, Eric Davis is as good as anybody in baseball stealing bases. Here's the pitch out. It's a good high throw. Eric just beats the ball second base.
You know, I chatted with him in our pregame interview yesterday from Wrigley Field and talked about how the numbers have been going down over his years in Major League Baseball. He had 80 of them in 1986, then went to 50 the following year, 35, 21, 21. I said, you've gotten off to the good start. Can we expect a big year out of Eric Davis in terms of stolen bases? And he said, I think my totals are going to be good, but he said, my role is different now than it was when I first came up. He said, I was a leadoff batter the year that I stole 80 bases, and by and large, he was. So the desire and the need for him to steal 70 to 80 bases hitting in the number 4 spot in the lineup's not there like it was when he was batting leadoff.
Then another factor, Marty, is the fact that Eric has enough problems trying to keep his body healthy, and stealing bases, you really take a beat.
Ozzie, no problem. So the Reds strand Davis at second base. After 6.5, still no score in second.
Chops and even ribs. So give your food the royal treatment with Ribs King barbecue sauce.
Ask for Ribs King barbecue sauce at your local grocery store.
On we go to the bottom of the 7th inning where Ray Langford awaits Chris Hammond, and the Cardinal bullpen is now active. For the first time tonight, they've got a former Red right-hander loosening up in Scott Terry. And Hammond going to work on Langford. Strike.
The way he can run, Sabo and Morris both are in at the bags.
Fly out, a ground out. That's been the bad story on the Cardinal center fielder. Well, they certainly can't find a whole lot of fault with the way Hammond has thrown the ball tonight.
This has been one of those good old big ones, wasn't it?
Good old big ones and big old good ones. Yes, sir.
Ooh, there's that change.
Change, nasty.
And I'm going to tell you what, you don't see that very often, Marty. Well, a left-handed pitcher throws left-handed hitter changes. So he's got to get them. It's normally a mistake pitch. Most left-hand hitters have a tendency to pull out a little bit, and you're right in that sweet spot.
0-2 pitch.
Nobody on base, just might as well waste it there.
Talking about Terry warming up in the bullpen as we did a moment ago, consider the fact that pitcher Hill is due to hit 4th in the inning if the Cardinals get anybody on base. So apparently the presence of Terry in their bullpen would seemingly indicate that Joe Torre is contemplating a pinch hitter.
Hill normally manages figure 6 or 7 quality innings, and boy, they sure got it tonight. And when you get that big horse down the bullpen they got, friend, all you need is one inning out of Scott.
They're underway at San Francisco and in San Diego. Philadelphia nothing in the first at San Francisco. New York ditto in the first at Jack Murphy Stadium. He struck him out on a change down.
You come back from the batter's box shaking your head with that pitch. Look at that ball go down.
Friends, one way to really kick off the spring is to fire up the old grill and pop on JTM's delicious pork chopettes. Pour on the JTM barbecue sauce, and I'll tell you, you won't find a better sandwich. Nothing tastes better hot off the grill than JTM burgers, chops, and steaks. And you can take it to the bank. Long foul by Pagnozzi. Hammond has had 3 strikeouts tonight, and all 3 have come on strike 3 changeups. Hudler in the 3rd and the 5th inning, and of course the strikeout of Hudler in the 3rd was on 3 straight changes, and then he strikes Langford out to begin the 7th inning on a change.
And the bunt that he was called out on for doing on the 3rd strike was also the 3rd straight change to him again.
Exactly. Pagnozzi's been on one time with a walk. He also hit the ball extremely hard his last trip to the plate and lined out to Davis in center field. 0-2.
Where do you figure Chris Hammond was 15-1 last year in Nashville? And if you're 15-1 in Little League, you got to know how to pitch.
No question. You just throw out the classification and the level of pitching. Get a change that O'Neill will get to. Now it'll be Oquendo, and whether or not Ken Hill stays around is dependent upon what Oquendo does or doesn't do. Batting in that number 8 spot, he's grounded out to Duncan at short and to Quinones at second.
Jose's really been struggling with the bat at the plate this year. He's only hitting .205.
Lou looking down that lineup card posted on the dugout wall. Of course, assuming that Hammond gets through this 7th inning, he's due to bat second in the top of the 8th.
The game of checkers will probably get underway here very shortly.
Yes, indeed. Change is high. 2 balls and no strikes. Given the nature of this game, that catch that Hudler made back in the 3rd inning just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. By all rights, it should be a 2-0 ball game, but what a catch that Rex Hudler turned in on Winningham to end the inning. And that will be taken care of by O'Neill, and Hammond and company head toward the dugout. Another good inning.
To win thousands
of 7, still no score.
For Marge Scott Chevrolet. Bring the whole family.
Benzinger is in the dugout.